Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to call on Mr. Claude Sinclair, otherwise known as Big Stone, to give us an overview of this event.
Honorable Minister of Education, Mr. Ronald Twaits, Member of Parliament, Dr. Winston Green, Your Worship the Mayor, Mr. Levon Freeman, Miss Girlie Brown, Miss Hilton, Miss Muzzy, and every one of you here. Now the day is over, night is drawing night, shadows of the evening steal across the sky. As the darkness gathers, birds begin to peep, birds and beasts and flowers soon will be asleep. Now the day is over, night is drawing out, shadows of the evening steal across the sky. The reason why I sung that song 56 years ago, when I was only 2 years old, I happened to meet this wonderful, blessed lady, Miss Girlie Brown. When I met this fantastic lady, she was so kind, warm, spiritual, loving, caring, truthful, honest to me. And she taught me every single thing that I know. She was the one who actually brought me from ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light. I could never ever forget the source of my education. She was the one who molded me in making me believe in myself and know that I can think big, and big things will happen to you. This event is something that I've thought about for many, many years, and no better time like the present. We got together, myself and Tony Gutsmore, and we said, let's incorporate all the other early childhood teachers who have done so much for a number of us here in this community. Miss Gutsmore, Miss Hilton, Miss Campbell, Miss Blake, and of course, Miss Girlie Brown. Anyone who's over 60 must have had the experience of one of these teachers. The reason why I also did this for far too long, when we pay our respect and honor, we do that when someone is deceased. When that person cannot hear that love that you want to extend to them. We should do it more when they're alive, when they can hear you, when they can understand you, when they can say thank you. So in the interest of time, I just want to say thank you very much to all of you that did great things by educating others, all of you that paved the way with early childhood education. Because if we had real early childhood education today, most of our young brothers would be wearing their pants below their waist. Most of our young women would be thinking themselves as not thinking themselves as ladies as they ought to be. So we strengthen early childhood education, and we appeal to the powers that be. Let early childhood education be first priority. I want to thank you very much.
Give it up for Big Stone. Yeah.
I want to thank the Lord for his presence, Mr. Mayor. We move to recognize in our midst our counselor, Mr. Kevin. We would not be honest with ourselves this afternoon if we would not right now recognize the recipient of this evening's function, who are Mistress Mavis Brown, Mrs. Hilton, Mrs. Muzzy. These are individuals who have been involved in the early childhood ministry for a very long time and have given their service in their noble way. Shall we put hands together for them? Our Master of Ceremony, Mr. Patrick White, who is here to do the honors this afternoon. We thank the Lord for him. Will you please put hands together for him also? We will now recognize, but we will do one appreciation for all of these persons whom I will just name. We want to thank the organizer, who is no other than Mr. Claude Sinclair, who has, with great energy and length, put together this program along with all the other persons who have assisted along the way. We do recognize their presence. I would also want to recognize in our midst the persons who have served and worked with the schools as chairperson and board persons. And I must hasten to identify Mr. Clive Bernard, who has been engaged in the Enfield School from 1982. The many past students, present students, persons who may not have been to the school but have been touched by what was contributed through the school. Ladies and gentlemen, may all be welcome to enjoy this evening's function. And may the God of heaven richly bless us all in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you all.
Thank you, Pastor. Moving along, now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to call on Mr. Claude Sinclair, otherwise known as Big Stone, to give us an overview of this event.
Honorable Minister of Education, Mr. Ronald Twaits, Member of Parliament, Dr. Winston Green, Your Worship the Mayor, Mr. Levon Freeman, Miss GIRLIE Brown, Miss Hilton, Miss Muzzy, and everyone of you here. Now the day is over, night is drawing out, shadows of the evening steal across the sky. As the darkness gathers, birds begin to peep, birds and beasts and flowers soon will be asleep. Now the day is over, night is drawing out, shadows of the evening steal across the sky. The reason why I sang that song 56 years ago, when I was only 2 years old, I happened to meet this wonderful, blessed lady, Miss GIRLIE Brown. When I met this fantastic lady, she was so kind, warm, spiritual, loving, caring, truthful, honest to me. And she taught me every single thing that I know. She was the one who actually brought me from ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light. I could never ever forget the source of my education. She was the one who molded me in making me believe in myself and know that I can think big, and big things will happen to you. This event is something that I've thought about for many, many years, and no better time like the present. We got together, myself and Tony Gutsmore, And we said, let's incorporate all the other early childhood teachers who have done so much for a number of us here in this community. Miss Gutsmore, Miss Hilton, Miss Campbell, Miss Blake, and of course, Miss GIRLIE Brown. Anyone who's over 60 must have had the experience of one of these teachers. The reason why I also did this, for far too long, when we pay our respect and honor, we do that when someone is deceased. When that person cannot hear that love that you want to extend to them. We should do it more when they're alive, when they can hear you, when they can understand you, when they can say thank you. So in the interest of time, I just want to say thank you very much to all of you that did great things by educating others, all of you that paved the way with early childhood education. Because if we had real early childhood education today, most of our young brothers would be wearing their pants below their waist. Most of our young women would be thinking themselves as not thinking themselves as ladies as they ought to be. So we strengthen early childhood education, and we appeal to the powers that be. Let early childhood education be first priority. I want to thank you very much.
Give it up for Big Stone. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be here and to take part in this very important function. This tele-event is an award function to recognize and award the dedication and service of these veteran educators. If I was asked today to put a theme to this event, I would probably say ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And so it is fitting that the very Minister of Education is here today because he's truly an extraordinary person. The Honorable Reverend Ronnie Thwaites was educated at St. George's College. He was awarded the Jamaica Scholarship to Cornell University and later the Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford University. He's an attorney, a journalist, a farmer, and a minister of religion, and I know some of you would say a man of God. He was elected Member of Parliament for the Central Kingston in 1997 and was appointed Minister of Education in January 2012. He's married with 7 children. The Honorable Reverend Ronald G. Thwaites, Member of Parliament, Central Kingston, Minister of Education. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Your Worship, I'm happy to be here. My colleague, Dr. Winston Green. You know, I judge a Member of Parliament, and you should too by his dedication to education. And Dr. Green is never less than promoting the cause of education in Southeast and St. Mary. Give him a round of applause. Council, I'm happy to be in your division. And Mr. Big Stone, you're really a rock stone. Mr. Claude Sinclair, Mr. Gutsmore, Mr. Bernard, I salute you. I salute you on behalf of all of those who give voluntary service to the cause of education. When you hear of the number of years that are given, there's no money in this, you know. It's pure dedication. It's pure acceptance of the fact that every generation wants to see the next generation turn out better than we did. And your dedication and voluntarism is respected. Ladies and gentlemen, children, I understand that Miss GIRLIE's family is here in abundance, her children, her grandchildren, and maybe more than that. And even then, which child in this community has not been touched by one of these great teachers who are here? Early childhood education is the most important aspect of education in Jamaica. It never used to be considered so. It was, in our history, the work of churches and of great people like those who you are honoring here today, who opened basic schools wherever they could and took in children and gave them the kind of beginning in life which Claude Sinclair spoke about. Early childhood is most important because all the science we know now tells us that during the first 8 years of life, a child's personality is formed almost completely. And the values and the attitudes which they have throughout life are inculcated at that point. Their brain develops during that early phase. And it is of vital importance that the quality of education at this level be given great importance. The present government, when we took over, found that 3% of the education budget was being spent on early childhood. We have increased it to 14%. And next year, if I'm still around, I want it to be 20% of the education budget. We want to spend it to make sure that we have trained teachers who are properly paid. I'll come back to that. That our children have proper nutrition. Cheese sticks and bag juice can't help you to develop a child's brain. We need to use our own food, local food, and feed our children. Fast food won't cut it either. We want to use our goods, our things that we grow. Help the farmers, who are the parents and grandparents, and help the children to be nourished and get the taste for the right Jamaican food from the very early years. And we want to bind the parents from the early stages too, because it is then that many of us can fully understand what it is to be a parent. So many times we become fathers and mothers without any training, without due consideration. The school, the early childhood institution, is in fact the tabernacle of the future of this country. And so today I wanted to come particularly to pay tribute to Miss GIRLIE and to those other teachers who have given so much of their lives to early childhood education. The government never used to sponsor the schools very much. It is only in relatively recent times that we have had an allowance to early childhood teachers. And in fact, that allowance has been too small. Last year, we were able to increase it by 15%. And this year, despite tight economic times, we're going to do that again, another 15% in 2 tranches, so that we can begin to bring decency and quality to those who have labored so hard in the early childhood system. Today, I bring a gift from the Ministry of Education to Miss GIRLIE, and had I known the other teachers, we would have brought for them too, and we will catch up with that. I've asked the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, in recognition of the service that they have given, to make an allowance, a compassionate allowance for them, and that will be payable in due course. But this occasion does more than we can do for those who are retired and who we honor today. Because it's not fair that early childhood teachers should be in a position to have labored for so many years and have no pension. And therefore, we are instituting a system. It is being worked on right now, and I hope it will soon become a reality within the course of this year, if I have my way, that we can provide a pension scheme for those who work in the early childhood sector. I give thanks for the good sense that we wish to bring to the transformation of education. It won't happen from the top down, you know. Prime Minister always tells us that we should never look down on anyone except it's our intention to raise them up. That is philosophy enough for me. I think today of those who have labored in this field, Miss Girlie and all of those who are here, Miss Brown, Miss Hilton, Miss Muzzy, and the others who have been named, the others who are in your hearts today, those who are serving now. Were it only for the material reward, you wouldn't be here, because there is precious little of that. But recognize what we're doing. We're doing the work of God when we are engaged in education, especially among the little children. I can only remember twice, Pastor, that Jesus got really ranked in the Bible. One was when people who are the scribes and Pharisees, people like the mayor and Winston and myself and the council, tried to turn the temple into a place of commerce and business. And it wasn't just the desecration of the building, because the temple stood for the human spirit. And you know what Jesus did. And the second time that he got really, really angry was when the disciples, people like Pastor and myself, yes, tried to do what? To keep the little children away from him. And what did he do? He got really angry and he said, no, don't keep them away. And he drew them close to him physically, close to him spiritually. And he said, suffer the little children to come to me, for such as these is the kingdom of heaven. And therefore, Miss Girlie, the teachers who sit beside you this evening in your age and in your honor, you're doing God's work, and you will be rewarded for drawing close to the children, drawing him close to them. For such as them, these is the kingdom of heaven. We are very, very fortunate in Jamaica, We have a place from early childhood right through to the end of secondary school for every single child. That's a big, big difference. Young children of Enfield, may I tell you, girls, pretty young girls sitting here, in 88 countries of the world, there is no education for you. Rich countries, multiples of Jamaica's riches. You can't go to school because you're a girl. Young men of Enfield, let me tell you the story of so many other countries where by the time it reached your age, you would be handed a gun to fight in a war that you didn't understand and couldn't agree with. In Jamaica, despite the troubles that we have and the violence from time to time, we have no such thing. We are free to have a good education, courtesy of the taxpayer, courtesy of the devotion of the teachers such as we honor today, courtesy of your parents. Come to school every day. Teachers, if the children don't come find them. If they can't afford the lunch money or the taxi fare, tell us, because the worst thing in the world is to keep a child out of school. And not just 4 days a week, please. Every day. Mr. Principal, Madam Principal of the basic school, make sure the children are achieving the best attendance possible. And when they come, in addition to the times table and the alphabet and the reading and those important things, teach them manners, teach them behavior. We don't want people with degrees behind their name and C-sex subjects and great professional qualifications, and they don't know how to treat one another and they don't know how to behave themselves. Just walking around this evening and speaking to those who have fallen under Miss Girlie's hands, I recognize what a disciplinarian and what a person devoted to good order and happiness of her children she has been. This has to be the standard for everyone. There's too much time wasted in our schools at all levels just for teachers to try and gain order because children are so unruly. Teach them from the earliest ages how to stand in a line, how to respect one another, how to cooperate, how to recognize that you don't always come first. You don't win every time. That the joy of life comes in collaboration, in waiting your turn, in being respectful to one another, even as you deserve and expect respect for yourself. And finally, think of what it would be like in another country, big country like the United States, where you can't call the name of God in a public function like this. We have the freedom to teach our children who it is that made them, who it is that redeemed them, and whose spirit it is will keep them through all of their life, the good times and the bad. And I know that this has been the character of the basic education which has been given here in Enfield. And you will give testimony this evening, long after I have to go, of the value of that education and the way it has set you in life. Let us give thanks for what we have. More than anything else, let us give thanks to those who have made it possible. Without any reward, with little concern for themselves, but with the joy of knowing that they are doing God's work. Today is a good day for Jamaica, land we love. Today is a good day for this district. Today is a good day for the cause of education, the only legitimate means of upward mobility in this society. I am honored to be among them, among you, and I praise and thank God for His grace working through these teachers. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed heartening to have the Minister here today and have him speak to us. Because you know as well as myself, in the very beginning, the distraction and the detractors was a lot that the minister had to deal with. And over these couple of years, the education subsector have made tremendous gains. If we look at our passes, and if we look at mastery, even at the early childhood level, indeed we can say the minister has been making tremendous gains and education is looking up and up. So I want you to give him another round of applause. And at this time, I want to call on Enfield Primary, Miss Brittany Wright, to make a presentation to Minister Twigs.
Honorable Minister, our honorees, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a distinct pleasure to present to the Honorable Ronald Twigs, Minister of Education, this token of our appreciation. Sir, I give to you this plant on behalf of the Enfield Primary and Junior High School. This plant is symbolic of longevity, hope, and growth. In our view, it represents a relationship we see existing between the Enfield Primary and the Junior High School and the Education Ministry. Honorable Minister, I hope this plant will bring to your reflection some of the pleasant times you shared here at the Enfield Primary and Junior High School. I also hope you use this plant as an instrument that brings peace and relaxation to you in the stressful as well as productive times. Again, sir, please take this plant as a token of our deep gratification and love.
Wonderful. Make some noise, people. I've never heard it said. Beautiful.
I want to thank you all, and I want to say something else.
Yes.
I'm sorry that I have to leave. I have another function that I must go to in Kingston. But this young lady here is a first-class speaker.
Yes.
And the presence and deportment of these two young ladies, if they are resembling what goes on here at Enfield, well, Miss GIRLIE and your colleagues, you've done very well.
Very well.
And Councillor and Winston, watch out, they're coming for your seats very soon. God bless you.
Thank you, Minister. But I just say on behalf of MP and Councillor, that them safe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Minister have to leave. We thank him for coming. But we now go and vise up the thing. So we go and have a look at entertainment, then we call on, the other speakers. So at this timing point, I want to call on none other than Drew Plyan to come and do a song for us.